Stop whatever you're doing right now, which is watching this video in my stupid face. Go find out if this tour package is playing in a city near you. And then buy a ticket. Take a friend with you. Buy 2 tickets. You don't want to miss Soen and Oceans of Slumber currently touring across North America. Tonight they were in Toronto. This was the second stop on this incredible tour. I'm going to give you a plethora of reasons on why you should buy a ticket, on why you should attend the show, on why you should pick up some merch. Now let's start off by talking about Oceans of Slumber. Because if you're a fan of the band and you come to this show, the performance is not going to shock you, but the performance is extremely different and interesting. 3 members only, Dauber, Cami, and Samir. Samir on bass, Dauber on keyboards, and obviously Cami on vocals. When you listen to Oceans of Slumber and you see this performance, you almost feel like this is a natural progression or perhaps a natural evolution in terms of how they think their sound, in terms of how they create their music, and how they want to present it to their audience. I wasn't quite sure what this stripped down version of their set was going to sound like or what's going to feel like, but I was motivated and excited to be a part of it because it's not every day that you get to see a band take their music into a different direction or expand on what their music was originally meant to sound like. This performance touched my soul. Cami has the kind of voice that goes deep into who you are as a human being, and it's able to grab you and just embrace you and tell you that everything is going to be okay, even though that when she's singing, it feels like it's the last thing that she's going to be doing on earth. That sort of organic feel that her voice has, that sort of warm feel that her voice have, that sort of experience that their music has becomes a lot more raw, becomes a lot more organic, becomes a lot more naked when you don't have heavy guitars behind it and you just down to the bare bones, to the skeleton of what started these songs to begin with, but now you're seeing the evolution, the shedding of a skin, if you will, and transforming from a caterpillar into a butterfly. Absolutely beautiful performance by everyone involved. Her voice, like I said, is outstanding. And in this format, you can feel it a lot better. You can hear it, you can sense it. It has a different touch, it has a different feeling, it has a different texture. She was built to be in this sort of setting. She was built to be pushed into the forefront and allow the music to just be a backdrop of everything that she can give the listener, which in this case is really giving a piece of herself. I honestly have never felt this way listening to a band perform. You may say that this is not metal. This is music, and great music at that, regardless of how you try to define it. Was it heavy? Not sound-wise, but it was very heavy emotionally. And I think when music is heavy emotionally, you go much deeper into it, you connect a lot deeper with it, and it has a very long-lasting experience with the listener. I know it did with me. Then comes Soen. What a band, what a performance. So much to say about these guys. First of all, Martin on drums, that's one of the reasons why people are interested in the band, at least in the early stages. He is a little bit of the calling card that brings you in. But once you're in, you see that the band is not a gimmick. There's a lot more to them than just Martin on drums. The guitar player is Canadian, he's from Ottawa, and what a lead guitarist. This dude can shred. He doesn't just shred, he becomes part of what that guitar sound is all about. I was blown away by the tone on his guitar, by his guitar playing, by the delivery, and by how emotional that guitar playing felt. He was definitely one of the highlights of the night as far as guitars are concerned. But their second guitar player also plays keyboards. Here's a band that has a guitar player doing double duties as a keyboard player and guitar player, playing songs, alternating instruments, and allowing you to feel like this is really a live experience. This whole show was a live experience. There was no keyboards on laptops. There was no performances being canceled because a laptop is lost. And I get it. I understand that aspect of music these days. But this band, Soen, they could have easily recorded or have recorded those keyboards on a laptop and just have them playing in the background while the guitar player is doing his thing. No, they don't do that. They have the guy doing both double duties in the evening. I applaud them for that. I don't know many bands these days going on tour that would take this approach. So definitely they need to be applauded for taking this sort of avenue and being true to their art and being true to those that pay money to actually go see them live and have that live experience be there in front of them, and not necessarily, I'm not going to say fake, but take a little bit away from what it really means to see a band play live and play their music live to its full potential. The lead singer, obviously, incredible voice, warm, different, unique. I don't think I've ever heard anybody sound nearly close to what this guy can do with his voice. Very natural, and I think that's the beauty of it. It doesn't feel contrived, it doesn't feel forced, it doesn't feel like it's trying to be something that he's not. He doesn't try to pull certain things or try to push his range into a certain avenue. No, it almost feels like he's singing in the shower. It's a very natural approach, it's a very warmth approach, and it has a lot of texture in it, feeling like it adds another instrument, which a vocalist technically is. His voice is an instrument, but he adds definitely another instrument to the overall layers of the songs and their composition and the sound experience that they give. The bassist is also solid. I mean, this band is solid at every single position. It's like an all-star team here. There was not a weak link to be had. Everybody was on top of their game. The bassist had an incredible tone as well. Interesting delivery, interesting performance, adding enough, and this also comes down to whoever's at the mixing table, because you could definitely hear the bass and you can hear how it interacts, how it blends with everything else, kind of creating a little bit of a glue that holds the guitars, that brings the drums, and allows the vocals to be on the forefront. Nothing about this band is done on the spot. Everything has a reason to be. It's that way in the studio, it's that way with their records, and it's that way with their performance. But the fact that I actually felt that I saw a band play their music live, truly play their music live, that is really important. Once again, you don't see this every day. It's becoming more of a rarity, and for these guys to pull off a performance like this, kudos to them. If that's not reason enough for you to go see them, if the fact that they're touring in North America for the first time, if that's not reason enough to go see them, if they're taking on this tour a band like Oceans of Slumber, and Oceans of Slumber, they're flipping the way you perceive music, the way you perceive their music, taking into a different direction, but still close enough to who they are as a band that for the fan of Oceans of Slumber, you don't see that much of a departure. If these are not reasons enough for you to go see these bands, I honestly don't know what are. Then on top of it, make sure you pick up some merch. These guys have a lot of merch available. There's vinyls, there's autographed vinyls from Soen, there's CDs, there's t-shirts, there's hoodies, there's bags, there's all sorts of stuff. So there's everything for everybody, different price ranges. Make sure you support these bands. I can't stress this enough. The touring world is extremely difficult right now. The price of gas, how difficult it is to rent buses, how difficult it is to find bus drivers, how expensive it is to hire crews these days because they're in high demand, because there's not as many as there were before the pandemic. So for bands these days to spend a huge amount of money, sometimes in the upwards of $20,000 just to get onto the tour, just to land in North America, because there's visas to be paid, there's all sorts of costs up front. They're definitely taking a huge gamble. Every band who's hitting the road is taking a huge gamble. So when you go see the show, obviously it's important you bought a ticket, you go see the show, but pick up something. Help these bands stay afloat. Help these bands have a reason, not just to make music, but to go on the road, to tour, to come back again to North America so that we can see these kind of performances more frequently, more often. Do yourself a favor. If you're a fan, take these opportunities, don't take them for granted. Support the music and the bands that you love, because otherwise one day you may wake up and they're no longer around because it's not financially viable for them. Now this show, the evening was great. If you're wondering about the dynamics, obviously the Oceans of Slumber set had its own dynamics, its own atmosphere. I would say it was around 45 minutes, and then Soen plays for about an hour and a half. It's a very deep set. They play a quite extensive set. I wasn't expecting the night to be that long, but you know, I'm not complaining. The more the better, and I don't think anybody that was there tonight would be complaining either, because the performance, while long in terms of the duration, it didn't feel that way. It went by really quickly because the songs merged one into the other. There's not a lot of talking, there's not a lot of breaks from any of the bands involved. It's very smooth, getting to the point, playing a song, moving to the next track, enjoying a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a break before the next one starts, but just keep going, keep rolling, keep rolling. It's all about giving the audience as much music as possible and cutting a little bit of the BS off of it. Nobody goes there to hear a speech about who you should vote for. Everybody is there to listen to the music and enjoy the moment. These two bands on this tour are doing just that. It's about the music, not necessarily anything else around it. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know if you have tickets, if you're attending, or if you're planning on buying tickets. Use the description of this video, and I'll see you all at the next one.